Today we are going to multiply a fraction by a fraction. 1/2 times 1/4, or 1/2 into groups of fourths. What is the product or the answer to this multiplication problem? Well, let's think about this. We're going to build it today with fraction tiles or fraction strips. If I have 1/2, how can I group that into fourths or into 4 pieces? What fraction would match 4 pieces? Does this one or this one? How can I divide it into, if I have 4 of these, would that equal 1/2? If I had 4 of these, would that equal 1/2? Take out your half and go ahead and match up what fraction tile or strip would be equal to 4 pieces to equal the half. Pause the video and find it. Okay, let's see how you did. My red tiles are the ones that match this. What do you think is this fraction? Well, if I turn it over, I can see that the 8ths can be put into 4 pieces of the half. Well, that makes sense because if I have 2 halves, that is the equivalent of a whole. And half of the in 8ths would be 4/8, so that makes sense. So if I think about it, 1/2, if I put those in groups of 4, how much is in one of those groups? They each have 1/8. So in this case, the product is 1/8. Let's try another one. Let's try a more complex problem. 2/3 times 2/4 equals what product or what answer to the multiplication problem? Well, this is more complex because we have 2 numerators. How could you build this with fraction tiles or fraction strips? Well, I can also think of it as 2/3 into groups of 2/4. Well, I know I need to start with 2/3, so let's start there with the 2/3. And how could I put these into groups of fourths? That means I want to make these 2/3 now into 4 pieces. What fraction tile matches up that I would only have 4 pieces equal to that? Pause the video and see if you can find the fraction tile that would match this into fourths. How did you do? Mine, it is the orange tile that is into fourths. And if I turn this over, you can see that the 6ths are the fraction tiles that puts it into 4 pieces. Now I want not just one of those fourths, I want 2 of those fourths. These are my 4 pieces even though they're 6. They're fourths of 2/3. So I'm now going to take 2 of those 4 pieces. How much is 2 of those 4 pieces of 2/3? It is 2/6. 2/6. Is there a simpler fraction tile that would equal the same as that? Actually, I noticed that 1/3 is a simpler tile. A bigger tile, which is not simpler, would actually be 4/12 or 1/3. So I could say this is also equal to 1/3. That is the simpler product. Some of you might have thought, oh, I already know 2 times 2 is 4, and 3 times 4 is 12. And look, 4/12 matches our 2/6, because here are 4/12, and our 1/3. So 2/3 into groups of 2/4 is actually 2/6, and the simpler product is 1/3.